Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with
Well, we're batting about 1,000 for being on time for this podcast. Maybe that's what maybe that's the podcast starting late. Anyways, I'm not going to blame Kelsey on this one. This was me. I was late. I was playing around with some technology and messed everything up. But today we have a really great show about branding. So it's product development and branding. And my guest, when it comes to creative ventures, our guest has done it all. If you remember, he's been on a couple of the podcasts in the past, but he's done a ton of stuff in the television and video game niche, especially with tech startups. And he's even worked a way to create patents for art. That's kind of weird, but I got to talk to him more about that. He's a graduate of the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and he has a degree in industrial design, and he's just a cool guy, Michael Kurtz. So he's been on a few times, and I think you guys are going to really like him. All right, before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to our sponsor, Global Wired Advisors, a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, please contact Chris and his team over at globalwiredadvisors.com. These guys are awesome. Just had another experience with them the other day, just connecting, two people together. And man, these guys are good. So check them out. Okay, Kelsey, where are you?
Hello. Happy Friday. It's almost the weekend. How is everyone doing? And
you know what I just found out?
What did you find out?
Well, I'm going to Prosper, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm heading over to meet my, Tim Jordan, my partner. We haven't seen each other in like a year and a half. But anyways, heading to Alabama. I guess we're going to go do some catfish noodling or something. What do you do in Alabama?
Yeah, noodling and mudding, I think.
Yeah. Lunch with Norm. I'll be noodling with Tim. That's a new podcast, Noodling with Tim. Okay. Anyways, then I'm going to head to Florida for a week. And hopefully I get to meet some people that I've never met before. So if you are in Florida and around Miami, Fort Lauderdale, between the 21st and 28th, I'm going to try to get a meetup going down there.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. Also, smash those like buttons if you haven't already. We have a special episode today, so we're going to be doing the regular interview, but we are doing a little logo review, logo branding, packaging, anything you guys want to send to us. So if you guys want your logo reviewed by Michael and Norm, send it to k@lunchwithnorm.com, and I'm going to bring it all together and show Michael and Norm during the podcast. So k@lunchwithnorm if you're interested in getting your logo reviewed. The quicker the better, just so I can check my email and I'll keep refreshing.
We ran out of time last time we did this.
Yeah, so Michael cleared his schedule. We got lots of time today. So send your logo to k@lunchwithnorm.
All right, who's the guy? Who's the Facebook user who's already jumped the gun?
We do have a prize today too. So Facebook user is right. But also our Patreon account. I want to give a quick shout out to Andrew Craig, who just joined our Patreon.
Awesome.
Thank you for supporting us. It goes a long way, and we really appreciate it.
Paying Kelsey.
Paying Kelsey, yeah, my wage. But yeah, thank you guys. And if you're interested in bonus content, guest lessons, personal small group AMAs, join our Patreon group. It's our paid membership program, and I'll put the links over. But I think that's about it.
Yeah, one really quick thing about the Patreon thing is that on the guest lessons, it's not like a podcast. So what's really cool is it's sort of a action, step-by-step lesson for people. And also, we just finished up our first SOP. So every month we're putting in polished SOPs, policies and procedures for you. But anyways, that's not why we're here. We're here to give you some great content. If you got questions, throw it over in the comment section. Other than that, sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show. Where are you, sir?
Hello.
Hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in about a month.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And by the way, if I could just say, if you truly do go catfish noodling, you need to have an entire episode where you document it and everything else, because it's quite the experience from what I understand.
Are you a noodler?
I am not a noodler. I do not have the fortitude to stick my hand in a hole and see what bites me. But
I'd be scared. I'd be running around like a little girl. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's an interesting experience.
Oh my gosh. All right. So talking about experiences, let's talk about a product design experience. All right. We talked about product innovation, product design. Afalabi was on a little while ago talking about product innovation. Why don't we start there? What are you looking for? What advice can you give to Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers on that topic?
So, well, interestingly enough, I remember you and I were talking to a couple people a little while ago, and one of them was trying to figure out a way to create a product. And they were going through and they were looking at all of the analytics on the back end of Amazon and figuring out what's there and what's not, and where they could fill a hole. And I thought it was really interesting, but as someone who spent his life in product design, I was also kind of confused by it. And so I thought it might be useful to give some of my expertise in product design to the Amazon sellers who are both trying to create their own products, but also selling other products, just to get a better insight on, one, how the products are made, and two, how they can better sell them, right? So hopefully you guys will find this super useful. So essentially my background, as Norm said, is I studied industrial design, which is essentially product design, right? It's everything from ergonomics. So you study, is this calculator comfortable in my hand? Is this pen comfortable? Does it work right? It really focuses on the user experience, from picking up the box on the shelf all the way to how long does the product last. And so with what this person was trying to do on Amazon was, I'm trying to figure out, how can I make something that's going to sell a ton, because there's a hole here. And I went, I don't know that that's exactly how it works. So essentially, I'm going to give you the crib notes of product design and how you walk through it. So when you know what you want to sell, so let's say we're selling widgets, because, right, everyone sells widgets in some way, shape, or form. So you're selling widgets. So when you're coming up with the widgets, you want to design it based on your brand. So obviously, your target market. That's the first thing, is to understand your target market. So what's their budget? So are you making something that in the end you're going to charge a lot for, right? This is $1,000 widget, or is it a $2 widget? Because your target market is going to buy based on whether or not $2, oh, it must be junk, or $1,000, I can't afford that. So that's the first point, is how much is this going to cost in the end? So that's going to determine the materials you use. In other words, does it look like silver, or is it actually silver? Does it look like gold, or is it actually gold?
Michael, you're going to be doing some competitive analysis
Sure.
to get this information, right? You're going to go and
Absolutely
check your Amazon competitors. You're going to see where the price is. Like if you've got if you find out that the highest perceived value there is a couple of dollars, nobody else can sell more, you've got to change up something. It might be material, it might be something else.
Sure.
One of the things like we talk about quite a bit on the podcast is a knife. Okay. So if you go and you do your competitive analysis on a knife, you'll see that it'll range from $19 up to $250, $300.
Yep.
So where do you want to compete? How can you compete? And I think it's at that point, once you understand the price point, and you have to decide the material and how you're going to
Right.
build that perceived value. Is that correct?
Yeah, because essentially, right, like that, the $250 knife and the $10 knife, they're selling to two different groups of people.
Right.
Right. That they're not, the person who's buying that $250 knife is looking at the $2 knife and going, why bother? And the person who's buying the $2 knife is looking at the $250 knife going, I can't afford that. And so, right, it comes down to, if you're going to sell a $2 knife, then you have to figure out all the ways that you can make this a $2 knife. And if you're going to sell a $250 knife, then you have to figure out all the things that you can do with that knife, right? The materials, the metal, like it's a higher quality metal, it's a higher quality handle, that you can say, this is why it's worth $250. And so that's really important. And from there, now you have to start designing it. So you're going to test different metals to see which stays the sharpest or which is the cheapest. You're going to test different ways to make the handle, right? If it's a $2 knife, maybe it's injection molded with plastic. If it's a $250 knife, it's this high quality wood that's bolted together to the thing. And we use these kind of, I'm not a knife expert, but essentially how it connects to the handle, is it, and things like that. Is there engravings on it? Is it? And so these are all the decisions you have to make once you determine, I want to sell a $250 knife, or let's sell a knife to the average person for $2, to the college kid,
Right.
for $2. And from there, now you have to test it. And this is the thing that I see a lot of people skip on, is the testing it. And it's crucial, right? That's why when they make a movie, they put it in front of test screenings and then go and reshoot the movie, because the test screenings, they didn't like the ending, or they didn't like this character, or whatever. Because if somebody picks up your knife and says, this is uncomfortable, right? I don't like the way the handle feels in my hand. You're not selling any knives. And that's what's going to pop up on Amazon is, hey, I use this knife, it dulled really quickly. I use this knife, it's uncomfortable. It's big and heavy. I didn't realize it. So testing it, whether you give it to a focus group, right? Because believe it or not, everybody focus groups everything. I've actually been a part of several focus groups, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, like you either set up a focus group, or you get together with some people that you can trust to be brutally honest with you and understand. So in other words, you give it to your brother or your sister or your mother or your father, and you say, hey, is this comfortable? Oh, sure. Like, they're not going to analyze it the way a stranger would, where you ask them, is it comfortable? Like, what do you think about the weight? Like, here, chop up some tomatoes, chop up some onions, chop up this, chop up that. Like, really try it out and see, do you like the way this feels? Like, is it comfortable? The long term, have them do it for a while, see if their hand starts to cramp, that type of stuff. And that's the thing that's missed out on, is to cover every aspect of where this could go wrong, right? If using the knife for 20 minutes makes your hand tired, people aren't going to use the knife, because subconsciously in their head, they're going to, every time they look at the knife, they're going to go, it makes my hand tired. I'll just use the ones I got at Target. And that knife stays in a drawer. And then the long-term effects of that knife staying in the drawer, sure, you made the sale, but it's not out at the party. No one sees you using it and says, hey, that's a really cool knife. Where did you get that? And so that's part of where it fits in the brand, is if people use it all the time, right? It's in the knife block sitting next to the cutting board on the kitchen counter, and one of your friends comes over and they start chopping up their hors d'oeuvres for the party, and they go, wow, this is a great knife. Where did you get it? Versus you never use it, so it's sticking in a drawer. You're not going to get those referral sales, which, again, from a knife, really, is there that many referral sales? But there are, because we all have been to somebody's house where we've picked up a knife and went, hey, this is really nice. Where'd you get this? Oh yeah, somebody bought it for me, or it was a wedding present, stuff like that. And I'm sure, like I said, I know we've all had that conversation. And so that's part of your goal when designing it is this going to be something that people want to leave out on their counter? Even if you're a college student, right? Is this going to be the one that's thrown in the drawer that's used all the time? Or is this going to be the one that's thrown out and just given away, or screw it, give it to Goodwill, this thing doesn't work?
So you're coming at this with a bit different approach, where a lot of Amazon sellers haven't heard of this.
Sure.
Okay? What they've heard of is going to, and I'm still saying do this, go and test your images. Go to PickFu and send in those images against your competitors.
Yep.
This is different. This is a different type of focus group. So this is a true focus group where you're either going, oh, you got a magical cup there too. Just disappears.
It's weird.
Got to get one of those.
Well, it's the complete opposite color of the green screen behind me, and yet it's still green.
Well, very cool.
I don't know how that works.
So we have, and I really like this. So it's a great point. Get a bunch of people, try the product, get honest opinions, and then go to your next step, right? So we've covered 2 steps now. Before we get to step 3, or if you have anything more to say about step 2, you had a giveaway today.
Yes.
I don't want to forget about that.
No.
So, sir, what's your giveaway?
So I have a website that helps small businesses, the exceptionally small businesses, the solo entrepreneurs, plumbers, bakers, authors, things like that, who are starting out, who don't know a lot about branding. And so it's an education portal. It is the Design from Scratch Concepts education portal, where it's a forum and a bunch of educational videos where you can go and ask questions and learn how to create a really powerful brand. And so what I'm offering you today is for a free membership. So it's 1 year access to all of the videos, the forum, and you could go, like I said, you go and ask questions. We're going to do a logo review a little bit later today.
Yep.
That's reminiscent of what happens in the forum. So you can post, hey, I have this brochure. Can you critique it? Can you tell me what you think, where I could change it? So it's the logo review is part of why I'm here, is because that's what I do in the portal. And like I said, then there's videos. So we're giving you access to that. And I'm really happy to have another one of your listeners into the forum. So.
Fantastic. So it's a year membership over at Michael's branding course. So Kelsey will put up the information if you want to check out the website. But to enter the contest, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, post it to tag 2 other people, and we'll get you entered. Also, if you've got some people that you know about that are interested in branding or product development, invite them over. The more the merrier. Always love to get new listeners into the community, and this is going to be a great show. We still got about 40 minutes to go on it. Guys, don't forget to send in, Kelsey, your logo, okay? Nobody's going to jump it. And you don't get this opportunity very often. All right. So if you do have your logo, if you want to get it critiqued, or your tagline just send it along. Okay. Back to you, sir.
So where were we?
We were on, before I so rudely interrupted.
No, you were
I was
not
talking
rude
about
at all.
focus groups.
Yeah.
You were talking about actually getting people to actually try what a concept.
Yeah.
Try the product. And I was talking about PickFu and going over there and getting very quick answers to questions, or how people, I call it the Brady Bunch effect. You put, I don't know, maybe I'm old, but you put your product where Alice used to be, and then surrounded by your competitors. Are you going to get picked?
Right.
And if you're not equal to or better, then go back to the drawing board.
Yep. And that's the thing is, aesthetics is incredibly important. Do you stand out? But like I said, it's, just because you look pretty doesn't mean that it works. And so that's, again, that's why I think it's really important to get your product in front of people, even if it's just a prototype, and say, because that's one of the things that we did while doing product design was we would take foam, right? A big block of foam, and we would sculpt out our product, right? And just hold it. Is this comfortable? Right? Do I like the way this feels in my hand? No, let me shave it down a little bit. And that's how we'd come up with the size and shape of what we're trying to do. Now, obviously that's not going to necessarily do weight, but we'll know like, yeah, this is how big this needs to be. Does it work for left-handed and right-handed? Does it do this? Does it do that? What problems are we trying to solve? Because if you're just making a knife to make a knife, like, oh, here's something to sell, I'll sell a knife, then that's going to reflect in your design of I'm just making it to make it versus no, there's a reason why I'm doing this. So when you choose that knife, let's make the handle comfortable. Let's do this. I want to make a knife that looks like it costs $250, but only costs $20, but works like it costs it stays sharp. It does this. And, so to do that, to sit there and say, okay, let's try a couple different ways we can do the handle. Let's, do research into what metals we can get that will hold their sharpness and not dull, right? For example, my brother, he bought these ceramic knives and my mom loved them. So she bought ceramic knives, but then was really disappointed at how easily they chipped, and these things chip. I didn't realize. Now my mom also has a bunch of Cutco knives, right? She's had them for 40 years since she and my dad got married. And she still has them. She still uses them. But now the ceramic knives don't get touched because they chipped. And from my perspective, that's a huge design flaw because, I bought these because they were cute, but that's really all they were. Like it was neat until it broke. And so is that what you're doing? Are you selling something that's neat, or are you selling something that is going to get the referral of, yeah, don't buy those knives because they chip really easily versus, you know what? I bought them because they were neat, but they're actually really good too. So that's all the questions you have to ask, or maybe you are selling a novelty item that's only going to last so long, and that's okay. These are all questions you need to ask. And then these are all questions that you need to answer for this test market.
Michael, I think like when you're talking about comfort, right? Like you're talking about a knife handle, and there's all sorts of different ways to do that if you check it out. But I think I go back to a remote. So, getting, like you got to see our place, a bunch of remotes kicking around. The cheapest, like I could have the best stereo system back in the day, right? And it came with a very lightweight remote. And so you pay big bucks for this Bang & Olufsen style stereo system. Yeah. And the remote always felt really cheap.
Yes.
And I can tell you right now, like some of the products that we have, like lighting and that, you get a remote, okay? And some of them are horrible. I've sent them back because they like either the light or the casing or the packaging, something's really cheap. In this case, let's talk remotes. I'm
so glad you brought this up, by the way, because this is a great example.
To make this have higher perceived value, you need about a nickel's worth of lead. And now it fits into your hand, and if you and balance. So if you think of your TV remote, usually the ones that are coming with, like we use Rogers, but the Verizons in the States or wherever you get your TV from, I'm not sure, Dish, you probably have the same similar where it's a little bit weighted. They'll either put that where the batteries are, or they'll put it, and that's where your hand is. It's never up the opposite way, but it's always weighted differently, and it's the size. Size matters, right?
Yep.
It could be a little bit bigger, smaller, but this one is, and this is for the lights. I'm amazed that it's that big, right? Usually it's just something very small, but just the perception of a remote can make a huge difference. And I had a Bang & Olufsen system, and it just felt like you kind of got ripped off,
Yeah, you paid all this money for the system, and then you get a remote that you're afraid if you drop it more than a foot off the ground, it's going to explode.
Yeah. And the reason for it is they use those little, I don't know what kind of batteries they're called, the little round ones, but there's no weight in it.
No. And so it's interesting that you brought this up, because this is a great example of problem solving in product design, right? So when we started out with televisions, right, and you got the remote, it was basically a number pad and volume up, volume down, channel up, channel down, and power. And then as we started getting better systems, surround sound, stuff like this, the remotes kept getting bigger and more confusing. And, and if you're like my mom, she makes my dad turn on the TV because she can't figure out the remote. And it became an issue, right? It's a major issue because you have this split, right? The left goes, I'm not technology savvy. The right goes, I'm very technology savvy. And the technology savvy are struggling to teach the non-technology savvy how to turn on a television, right? Because now the buttons are way in the back and you can't even find them. And you have to use the remote, but I don't know how to use it because, wait, how do I turn on the stereo? Because I need to turn on this, and then there's a sound bar. And so now you have these companies that are starting to reduce stuff. So let's look at the Amazon remote for like the Amazon Fire or the Roku player. We're back to 6 buttons, right? And everything else is all on the screen, and you just cycle through it. And that's because people sat there and had a conversation going, if we make this remote super complicated with all these buttons, nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to buy our streaming player because they can't figure out how to use it. And they're already intimidated by the concept of it, right? My mom doesn't want Netflix because I don't want to deal with it. My dad loves Netflix because he can do whatever he wants. And so, that's the issue is we hand my mom the Amazon Fire remote and she goes, oh, this is actually really easy. There's a volume, there's a power, and then everything else you do on the screen, right? You want to pick this, you go to there, you do this. And now it's not intimidating. And that's because people said, if we don't create a remote that's easy to use, we're going to lose half of our target market. If we don't create a remote that's lightweight, non-intimidating, we're going to lose half our market. And now you can buy different versions that have a couple more buttons, that have a couple less buttons, that do a couple other things. You can buy add-ons, right? There's like a keyboard attachment. So you can buy these things if you want them, but you don't have to. And that saves a lot of problems. They also have companies like Logitech who are making, touchscreen remotes. So now you just program it and then you just say, watch TV, and it turns everything on. Just, again, less buttons, less intimidating, but that's because they focus grouped it and said, what do you like and what don't you like about the current remotes? And somebody said, I hate that there's so many buttons. Okay, write it down. Because that's part of it too, is if you're coming up with a knife, to go to people and say, what don't you like about your current knife set? Oh, I hate how flimsy it is. Oh, it dulled so quickly. Oh, the handle's really uncomfortable. Okay, so here are the things that people are looking for when we create our knife. They're looking for a comfortable handle. They want it to be more durable, even though it's less expensive. They want something pretty so that it's not when it's sitting out on their countertop as opposed to hide it in a drawer. These are the things they want. So if you're creating something to sell, along with doing the analytics to find out what people are buying and where the price points are, obviously I'm not saying don't do that homework, but I'm also saying if you're trying to create a knife, go around to people and just casually say, hey, this is a nice knife set. What do you like? Where'd you get it? What do you like about it? Just have a general conversation. People will be way more revealing about stuff than you realize by just saying like, so what do you like about it? Why'd you buy it? Are you happy with it? What would you change? We're thinking about buying something else. Oh, why? And have this conversation and take notes on it of this is what they like. This is what they don't like. Because guess what? If those are their thoughts, I guarantee you those are other customers' thoughts. and like I said, the remote is a great analogy of, they looked at it and they went, we have these big giant remotes with all these buttons, and in order to make it smaller, we've had to create all these menus. Well, now the menus are confusing. You hit this button to turn on the stereo, hit this. And so it confuses the heck out of people who aren't tech savvy. And I guarantee you they asked people questions of, what don't you like about your remote? How do we make this better? So hopefully that'll help the people that are creating stuff, but I also hope it'll kind of give you an idea for the people who are selling stuff, like, oh, this is the way they look at it, because those features, right? Those questions that they asked are also your selling points. They're the thing that says, hey, this is a comfortable handle. We know everybody hates uncomfortable handles. This is comfortable. This will stay sharp long. This will look attractive on your kitchen counter. You don't need to hide it in a drawer. Those are all the selling points too.
I talk about plastic shoe stretchers, right? Plastic shoes, just garbage. Anyways, the ones that I was looking at. And if you take a look at the complaints, 3, 2, 1 star, and you'll see the plastic chips, it's thin, it's crappy, and the spring. These are all things that you could build, improve on, and make a really like a huge difference in the customer experience. And It's very, very simple to do. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but the points that you're making for any seller, if you get that information back, it'll make it so much easier and so much better for the user experience. So, and I think that's the main point of that whole long-winded thing I started. All right, so let's go to number 3. Or your next thought.
My next thought. I have so many of them. So I think we should talk about how the product design fits with your brand. And
okay, so Michael, I just want to make sure that I know there's been a bit of confusion, but step 1, okay, was the demographic.
Yeah.
Step 2, we were just talking about, and now what would be the next step outside of the focus group?
Well, I do think focusing on how it fits with your brand kind of is that next step, just because that's how you're going to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is your brand? What is the type of stuff that you're selling? So are you selling cool technology? Are you selling old-fashioned stuff, right? For lack of a better way to say it, let's say you own an antique store, or do you own, we sell the latest, greatest, coolest stuff. So that's your brand. So how does that fit, right? You're not going to sell bright red knives if you're an antique store. You're not going to sell old-fashioned looking stuff that looks like it's already been in existence for 20 years type of thing if you sell the latest, greatest stuff. So that's part of it. How are you incorporating it with your brand, and how does your brand incorporate with that product? Because it's going to result in some of those choices. In other words, even though it's a wooden handle, we're going to use a red stain or a purple stain versus, no, we're going to use this old-fashioned stain. So, and then are you engraving it, putting your logo on it, or are you going to sell it so that someone can gift it and they can put their logo on it, or a wedding date or something like that? What types of things are you going to do to brand it? And how far are you willing to go? Are you going to push the cost to keep it branded, or are you going to go, no, we're going to go cheap? Because like I said, college kids don't care about the name. They just want to be able to cut their burrito in half type of stuff. So, think about that. It's something that I see get overlooked a lot, where people will sell, like I said, they'll sell a bunch of, this style, like antique shop style stuff. And then all of a sudden we have this bright red, fire truck red handle on our knives, and it's like, but that doesn't fit, you know. So hopefully that makes sense.
Right. You're building I say it a lot, perception. You're building your brand identity, your
Right.
brand culture, and your brand perception. Where do you want to fit?
Right. Yeah. And again, you know, you're not going to, if everything you're selling is $2 this, $5 that, and then you walk in with a $250 knife, it's not going to move, because that's not what the people who are coming to you are looking for, right? You're not going to buy a $250 knife set in Dollar General. You're not. And the people who are going, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I was working with an artist once. So, original painter, very well known. Anyways, Canadian artist. And, you know, we were talking, and he has a big brand, but it's all originals. And he didn't want to mess up his originals. So you could be an artist and sell originals, but where the money is in the prints. So we created a sort of a secondary downplay market for people that could never afford his artwork, but could afford the prints.
Right.
And, you know, that it just absolutely took off. So you can have a high perceived $200 and $300 knife, but for the people that want it, but want the brand,
right,
they still want the brand, but you could have a good quality knife for, you know, $50 or something
Sure.
like that, was much more affordable. So these are things you can look at too, to be very wide in your brand, you know, without bastardizing it or hurting it.
Sure. Yeah. And you can kind of, you can rebrand, right? Or you can create an offshoot of the brand, which is kind of what you were describing, where it's just, you can be as connected or independent as possible. So you could create, so for example, you know, those prints, maybe people go, oh, okay, this is his thing so that he can sell prints. Or maybe from the outside perspective, it is a completely independent company that people don't even realize that he owns.
Right.
And so that's, you know, that's stuff you can do to say, gee, we want to be able to sell these knives, but we don't know that, you know, because we're selling toys and every other part of it, we don't know that the knives will sell because people aren't coming to us for knives. So then you start an offshoot of, you know, either with a different name, or again, it's really up to you how connected you want to get it. Because, you know, let's say if your company's called Tom's Widgets, right? And Tom's Widgets sells primarily television remotes. Now Tom's Widgets wants to sell knives. So maybe it's, you can split it. So it's Tom's Remotes and Tom's Knives. You could say Tom's Widgets is now selling knives. You can say Dave's Knives, you know, and pretend like Dave is a completely different. So there's options on how you want to do it to separate or keep it united. You know, hey, great news, Tom's Widgets is also now carrying knives. It's
right.
There's ways to do it, but again, when you do it, you have to focus it from a brand perspective and how people perceive your brand, so that they're not going, well, I'm confused. Why are there knives here? This doesn't, like, Tom sells TV remotes. Why is there a knife listing? There must be something wrong with Amazon, because I went, you know, something's goofy here. No, wait, no. And now they're confused versus, oh, wow, we're proud to announce we're now selling knives, you know, and you could do a whole rollout of it and really publicize it. And it's, you know, email blasts and social media announcements and make a huge event out of it. And honestly, you get a ton of publicity, you know, so there's multiple ways to do it. And we could dive down into multiple rabbit holes trying to explain all of it. So hopefully we've at least put the thought in your head of ways to handle it.
Right. Okay. I guess before we get to into the logos, do we have any questions, Kels?
Yeah, we do. Sweet. a couple came in that we can answer. Let me see. The first one is from Simon. Is there a point at which you should or could stop creating new iterations of a product?
I mean, yes and no. Again, it's, you see companies all the time that say, we've had the same hamburger for the same recipe for our hamburger for the past 30 years, but then maybe they do a new hamburger, right? Like a seasonal hamburger or whatever. But then at the same time, as Coke will attest to, new Coke, right? There's cherry Coke, there's vanilla Coke, there's all these different products. So, I mean, the short answer is never stop creating new iterations. But at the same time, if you find something that's working, don't change it just to change it. Again, keep that and introduce a second product, right? Hey, this works. And as long as it's working, don't touch it. But, you can do, hey, we have version 2 available as well, or we have this other thing that we're doing. Again, you could do, we have the chef series of knives, and now we have the executive chef series of knives, and they're different, but as long as people are buying the chef series, why would you get rid of it? Because I guarantee you'll get emails of, why did you discontinue the chef series? We loved it, Yeah.
And for something like that, you could have a brand that goes really wide, but if you're selling natural soap and bully sticks, that's not, for the most part, that's not going to work. But if I'm selling natural soap and I'm selling liquid soap and bar soap and bath bombs, that could work.
Sure.
And you could go very deep in that. So it really just depends on your niche.
And if you're selling, soaps and bath bombs, there's different scents. There's different, hey, we've got for the next, for fall, we've got these autumn scents, right? You're not going to get rid of your big sellers, but for a short period of time, for 2 months, we're selling pumpkin spice, right? And everybody talks about it every year it rolls around, but that's why they do it. So yeah, it's not whether you should or shouldn't, it's how creatively you do it. And are you changing it just to change it, or do you have a reason to, right? It's people are saying this or saying that. Oh, I like this, but I wish the bottle was bigger. Oh, I like it, but it's, I wish it lasted longer. Okay. New and improved. Now it's bigger. So you're not changing the scent, but you're changing the size so that it lasts longer.
Yeah.
And maybe some people say, oh, I wish it lasted longer. And some people say it lasts too long. Great. Now we have a large, a medium, and a small. So those are ways to change it without changing it, if that makes sense.
And having certain products on specific platforms. So if they want, they have to come over to your website to drop their email. Yeah. So that's another little fun tip.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So pretty much if you're McDonald's, don't change the French fries because that's working.
Yeah.
Keep that going. Yeah.
Look what happened to Coke.
Yeah.
Coke played around with their formula, came out with this crappy Coke, had to switch back to original. I mean, it was a mess for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Trying to get their brand back on track, but they did. They did a good job of it. I think they ended up doing much better in the end. Maybe that was their plan screwing up with the formula.
It wouldn't surprise me. And what's funny is, because they had record sales when they brought it back. But what's funny is every so often they'll put out new Coke.
Yeah.
Like, hey, remember this? Remember when we screwed up? Try it. For all the people who only heard about it, now you can try it. And now it's just the people at Coke, everything they do, I think has a way higher level of strategy than we realize. Because I agree with you, Norm. I think the new Coke thing was purely, they knew it was going to fail and they did it on purpose. Like, that would not surprise me in the least.
This is genius of them. If
they're genius. The people at Coke that do the marketing, they have the greatest marketing system, the marketing department. in the history of companies. They're just,
So,
those people are brilliant.
I can't say they're a sponsor, but if Coke, if you're listening, I drink about a case of these a day.
Yeah. But I tell people all the time, I said, the greatest thing that Coke ever did, brilliant, was when they took their name off the can and put your name on it. That was the single greatest market. I mean,
so smart.
I saw that in the store and I went, brilliant. And they did it. If they would have done it in the 80s, it wouldn't have worked. It wasn't until social media exploded that it made any sense, because they got $1 million worth of advertising for free. And it's just, it's because, I mean, think about it. Everyone bought the thing with their name on it and immediately took a picture of it. Their product was all over the internet.
Yeah.
People weren't even drinking the product. They were buying it purely to see their name, because I guarantee you there's still people who have the bottle sitting on a shelf from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's the kind of stuff where they go, we don't have to do anything special. Let's just change the label, put their name on it, and people will go crazy. And I know someone whose cousin worked in that department, and he was telling me the whole story of like how the higher ups were terrified, and like, we can't take our name off and we can't do this, and they're like, trust me, this is going to be brilliant. And so he was kind of giving me like what was going on the back end of that, and it was fascinating.
And you just think of it, and we're using big examples here, but it's all to drive a point home for product innovation.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the guy on stage, the CEO of McDonald's, and going, guys, we're going to refocus everything. We're going to become a coffee shop. In fact, we're going to change things up and call it McCafe. We know we were serving garbage coffee. It tasted like wood chips, but we're going to be known for this.
Yeah.
I can tell, like, I don't know about the States, but I can tell you in Canada, franchisees are sweating.
Oh, I bet.
And Tim Hortons, largest coffee place here, it's like Dunkin' Donuts, I guess, down in the States. But they were laughing.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's chasing McDonald's right now to try to get up to this free Wi-Fi, this little cafe where you can go and get your, McCafe. Brilliant move, ballsy move, because to be that guy, that was his job on the line.
Yeah. But not only that, what's so brilliant about it is they looked at Starbucks, and they looked at Tim Hortons, and they looked at, Dunkin' Donuts and all these other coffee shops, and they went, why can't we do that? And we can do it better, and we can do this, because they understand that the Starbucks target market is not their target market. But that doesn't mean that their target market doesn't wish they could do Starbucks. So they brought in a different element, right? They brought in, well, since you're here for your egg sandwich, we're going to sell you a coffee that you're not embarrassed to walk around with, like,
right?
It's cooler, because essentially all it is it's coffee in a cooler cup with, you want your coffee to be more as an ice cream sundae than an actual cup of coffee. So we'll add your milk, we'll add your ice cream, we'll add your ice chips, we'll add whatever, your caramels. Like, we can do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's
not spending $10 a cup. So
right. And and you're going to buy it because instead of making two stops, right? Because I want my egg sandwich, but I also want my Starbucks or Tim Hortons or whatever. Now you're going to, well, okay, I'll just get it here then. If you can do the Frappuccino, I'll just do it here. And they realized that by saving you a 5-minute walk and having to wait in a second line so that you don't have to get up 10 minutes early to go to work, they're going to make all this money. And that's exactly what it is. And it's brilliant.
Okay, Kels, any more questions?
Yes. So let me see, from Corinne. Does Michael recommend searching bad reviews to find flaws and ways to improve, or do a focus group, or even both?
Both. Bad reviews are great. Again, they tell the buyer what to get and what not to get, but they also tell the competitors where this company went wrong. Even good reviews are the same way. Like oh, I love that it does this. I love that it does that, because they'll tell you everything, right? They gush. When it's a great review, they gush. Oh, they did this, they did that. They'll talk about stuff. They'll talk about how it was shipped. They'll talk about the packaging that it came in. Like, oh, it came perfectly packaged. It came this way. It came that way. And then you read it and you say, oh, okay, people care about the packaging. Like, so let's send them this nice box. Or, you know, oh, the box that it came in was pretty, or it was this, or it was that. Like, read all of that, because they gush, and that's not a bad thing. But they'll tell you, hey, if I want to compete with this is what I have to do. I have to do this. And at the same time, the bad reviews will tell you, okay, this is the mindset of my user, right? Maybe you read it and go, that's because we've all read the reviews that just because they don't even make any sense. Like, this person's just ranting and raving about something else. But in there still lies information that you can use. And then the focus group, again, that's going to help you be able to ask specific questions. So, do you find this comfortable? Do you this? Do you that? Because you don't know what the user did, right? Because we will read the reviews that said, I used it for 5 minutes and threw it away. And okay, well, what does that mean? Why? Why did they throw it away? And to be able to sit down and say, okay, here, use this. And they go, no, I don't really like it. Why? Why don't you like it? Well, it's uncomfortable. It's not sharp. You know, I don't normally cut onions, so why are you making me cut onions? Type of stuff, you know? And so that's what I mean. Anywhere that you can get information to help you make a more solid product, use it.
I always find the 3 stars to be the most honest.
Yeah.
You know, these are the people that, you know, people who love your product and are passionate about your product. There's your 5-star. People who, I don't know, maybe got up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm saying it politely. You know, give you the 1 star.
Yeah.
The 3-star is usually, okay, and you can read them all, right? 1 to 5, but to get the real feel for people, I like 3-star reviews if there's any.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as a consumer, I agree with you. I read a lot of the 3-star reviews. Because the 1 star and the 5-star are, I find, a good majority of the time they are biased.
Now, if anybody wants to write a 5-star review about Lunch with Norm, don't worry.
Yeah,
5-star. We love 5-star reviews.
Yeah, no one in this audience is. Everything is completely genuine from this audience.
All right, Kels.
All right. Okay, I also want to shout out Sharon Evan. She's in the comment section. I heard the Wheel of Kelsey popped up in Seller Sessions the other day. So thank you to the Beard Nation who were commenting all of those. That was pretty funny when I heard about that. She's a Facebook user right now, but this is her.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Okay, and we will get to the reviews still. We're just finishing up these questions. We've booked off some time. So yeah, thank you everyone who sent it in. Also, smash those like buttons if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. Also, if you're watching from YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook. All that stuff helps with the algorithms and gets our content shown to more people. So we really appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up. Okay, we'll do a couple more. Let me see. From Jessica Rabbit. Do you test packaging products on same focus groups or 2 different ones?
I guess that depends on the packaging and the product.
Yeah, I haven't tested it on a focus group. I've used PickFu or Usability Hub more for like I'll see the product design and the quality, but as for taking that extra step, I've never done it. I don't know about you, but I'll go to PickFu or Usability Hub to get what people think about the look, the overall design.
Yeah, and I think, again, packaging is all about just getting someone to take it off the shelf. The product is people who will use it. So the package is advertising, and that's an important thing to note. because essentially, when you're walking through a department store and you see the knives sitting on the shelves, the first one you're going to grab is the one that the packaging appeals to you most. So yeah, I think, I don't think you need to go as all out testing the product as you do just to say, is this the most attractive packaging?
Right.
However, not to say that you shouldn't test out packaging on your audience if you have the ability to. It's actually interesting. I know you were talking about Pick Fu and some other stuff, but I've also seen people who do. It's pretty interesting. They do a double duty. They advertise the product while testing it, and they put it out on Facebook going, "Oh, I have these 5 book covers. And which one do you guys like the best?" So not only are they advertising that this book is about to launch, but then they're testing out which cover works the best. And I always look at that person whenever they pop up and I go, man, that's so smart, because it's, like I said, it's, hey, we're launching this book in 3 months. What do you guys think of the cover? This is, and it's like, man, that's so smart.
Right.
I love it.
Okay, and a comment from Manzar. The power of social listening is very underrated. Recently, I found a couple of painkiller products just by hanging out in the niche groups, just about to get patented and launch. So awesome job. Let me see. We have got one from Simon. Is there a risk that if Mark 1 meets all the customer needs and you keep evolving it, Mark 4 could become an ugly monster?
Yeah, we were just talking about Coke doing that. There is, but again, if you're taking what's wrong with Mark 1, right? These are the user complaints. And then you say, okay, well, let's fix it. You can end up with Windows XP, or you could end up with Windows 8. So are you listening to what they're saying, or are you evolving it because, well, we got to make it modern. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to change it. And so that's really the question, because if you're, I hear people all the time when I work with them, oh, it needs to look more modern. Okay. But then they say, oh, it's got to this, it's got to that. But then in reality, then it's uncomfortable to use now, because you overdid the modern look where, maybe it didn't need anything. Maybe, because of technology, Mark II is you change the way it's produced, so it costs less money. That could be a way too. But, again, New Coke being that great example of they changed it so that they could change it, and it ended up being a disaster. And so, it really comes down to, what are your customers saying? If they're saying, we love this exactly the way it is, then maybe there's no need for a Mark II. Or, like I said, well, it's really expensive to produce, so let's create a Mark II that has the same quality, but because of 3D printing or because of this or because of something else, it's now cheaper for us to produce. And so that, like I said, that's the question, is what is your Mark II and why are you making it?
Okay, so we're going to have to get over to the logos. How many logos do we have?
Let me see. We've got 8.
Whoa.
Here we go.
I'm
So
so long-winded. Oh, my gosh. All right, so let's
Norm,
get into the logos.
Norm, do you have a cutoff time?
There's a series. Here's a plug. I'm going to be on Serial Entrepreneur at Clubhouse at 2:00. So that's usually a really great room. So if I got till 2, 8 logos, let's say 1:30 is cut off.
I think we could do that.
Are you good with that?
I'm good with whatever you want.
Everybody listening,
Okay.
this is the time to get your friends in, because I think this is going to be really great. And oh my gosh, I hope I say everything correctly, because Sharon's going to get down my back on this if she's listening. All right, let's do this.
So first of all, thank you everyone who sent in their logos. Yeah, it's really cool. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this if you missed the first one. So this one is Active Pet Supplies, and it is from Amber. She is launching pet brand this month?
Any just first thing I'm just curious about, branding wise, the double S. Was there
That was my
reason?
thought too. That was my first thought.
Yeah, because this is a very simplistic logo. Could be really cool. Like we do that over at the Soap Club. Just black, white, very simple. Depending on where you're going with this, the dog, playing with the frisbee. I guess that's what it is. But I don't get the double S, and that could be an issue if people are talking about, like, if you're just doing a podcast like we are, maybe no video. Active Pets. Go to Active Pets. Well, how many times are you going to have that misspell, right? So
Right.
Active. I don't know if you've got the brand registered right now, but that's the first thing that popped to mind.
Yeah, and
For our, sorry, I was just going to say for our audio listeners, it's a picture of a dog jumping and catching some sort of toy, and it says Active Pets Supplies, and the pets is a double S.
And for our video listeners, Kelsey's going to do an interpretive dance.
Yes. Well, and so one of the things that I like about the logo is, like you said, I like the simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's very stylish, definitely current. But I don't even know if this was intended, but I like the fact that it seems to the toy, because of the way that it's drawn, looks like a frisbee, but it also seems to double as a halo. So like our pets, like, like they're like angelic. So the messaging behind the actual image is great. The problem is that double S actually pulls me from looking at the image, because I find myself staring at the double S, and in my subconscious trying to figure out, how do you pronounce this? Is it Pets's? Is it Pets S? Like I'm not sure. It's confusing and distracting, and so somebody just asked if it could be about trying to get around a trademark. That's possible. But like I said, it's very distracting. And that to me, the focus should be that dog, because it just, like, there's such a good energy coming off of the dog that I hate really that other S is pulling it.
And again, this is not legal advice, but I'm not a lawyer.
It's just our opinion.
Just our opinion. But that trademark, if you're trying to get around a trademark, and that's why you're adding the two S's, that trademark's going to come after you anyways, the company. So Active Pet, and one other thing aesthetically for me, I would just I would take the S and I would stretch it out maybe to where the line is. So so right now you've got dog coming down sort of like a triangle from the halo to the line.
Yeah.
Then it stretches out. But to make it kind of fit all in, supplies from left of the bar to the right of the bar, instead of having to come down again. I think that would balance it off. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that would look nice.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I don't disagree with you. Cause I like the triangle. I think, one, to go back to the trademark thing, that with the name Active Pets, you're going to struggle to get a trademark anyways, because usually they don't trademark something that sounds like a description. It's just because it's too obvious. At least from my experience. It might be different in Canada and some of the other countries, but I know I've run into that where if it just sounds like a description, you're not going to get the trademark. But two, by getting rid of that other S, you actually shrink the base of that triangle, which then balances. It'll balance out what you were saying with the supplies a little bit more too.
Yeah, it'll actually make it a triangle right down to Active Pets. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Also, I'm thinking about with like a domain, Active Pets Supplies. That's a triple S in the name. So.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, nice catch, Kels.
Yeah,
nice
good catch.
Thank you.
I use Hawaiian or Hawaii coffee. Okay. Well, if you're going to get a domain, get Hawaii Island coffee, right? Just as an example. So Hawaii Island, 3 I's. Is somebody gonna type in 2 I's or 3?
Right.
Buy both domains and have 1 point over, whatever it is.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely something. And you're probably, if you're going to be promoting this, if you can't get the .com on this and you don't want to do a hyphen, you don't want to make it Active Pet Supplies where it's like 30 characters, like your name, 30 characters. But just for simplistic, if you can do it really simplistic, Active Pet Supplies. Now, I know Michael, he talked to us about that the other day, about his domain name.
Right.
And he had a reason for it.
Yes.
So, you can break the rules if you know the rules.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too is, I think that image works with any name you want to put with it. So, I mean, if you're trying to get around something, an interesting spelling of the word active works better than an interesting spelling of the word pets.
Yeah. For me, though, I want to have a name that can't have a misspell.
I agree. I do agree with you 100%.
And you can disagree.
No, but I agree with you. Because essentially, if they're typing it into the domain, right, and it doesn't work, you've lost the sale.
If you want to check too, like you want to make sure, like if you're going into the patent office and checking on TESS, that's the searchable, that's the database. You also want to check name CHK, and that'll just let you know every social media name or platform available that has that name.
So this one, who is this one?
So I'll give a little introduction about this one, a little description. So it's a circle with it looks like some sort of mermaid or fairy, and it's peaceful siren in a dark blue and light blue fonts. It's used for babies to elderly with sensitivities to chemicals, artificial ingredients, fresh design aesthetically, beautiful organic cotton, personal care, cleaning, beauty, natural. I guess those are just keywords. It's from Roz. I'm not exactly sure. Cotton personal care products, I guess.
Well, I'm going to say this: A+. That's a $5,000 logo right there. I like it. I like this one a lot. The attention to detail is fantastic. I like that the siren makes the cross of the A. That the fonts are easy to read. That the image is captivating. The image really draws me in. I like the detail of the swirling hair, all of it. I really like this logo a lot.
It can size up and down too for social media.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I love it.
Okay. Any comments, Norm?
I had to figure out the logo up top. I had to look at it for a couple of seconds. I didn't get it right off the bat. So that might be different. I wonder if anybody in the audience had the same sort of feel. That would be my comment on that. Is just I didn't like it. You ever seen when you look at something one way and other people see things the other way? You see it with a face. One is a beautiful woman. The other one is looks like Camilla DeVille. That's what I got here. I didn't see, I was looking at Peaceful Siren, and I didn't see the angel right off top. I saw a mustache.
Well, it's a siren, so it's the from the ancient Greek mythology.
Right. But what I saw look at it now when I say this, okay? I looked at it and I saw a mustache. And that was just me.
I did not see a mustache.
And it took a second until I saw, I get it now.
But I don't mind that, because it's like the Toblerone logo, where you stare at the mountain, and all of a sudden you realize there's a bear in it.
There is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. See? but that's one of the things I liked about it is that the longer you look at it, yeah, see, but the longer you look at it, the more it unfurls. And so, it just, the longer you look at it, the more detail you see, the more of a story it unfurls. And that's what I like about it. I think it's just, it tells a story. It's one picture. It tells a story. There's movement in it, right? You feel it moving. I really like this logo.
Is there a tagline with this, Roz? Just kind of
Yeah,
wondering.
let us know. Okay, we'll just keep it moving. This is from Brad. The slogan is "Give the gift of solar."
You want to go first on this one, Norm?
There could be a lot of work done here, Rad. I think it's bold. It comes out. You got a sun over to the left, but I mean it's something you could definitely work with. Where did you get the logo from, Rad? If you could punch it in to the comment section. I know your product, and your product's very good. I don't think you're getting across the message of the quality of your product in this logo. That's my thoughts.
So I also have some thoughts. I agree with you. Please forgive me, as I'm going to be as gentle as I can. I mean no disrespect. I don't want to embarrass anyone, so please forgive me. But it looks amateurish. It looks like whoever did it spent 5 minutes on it. I like the font.
Yeah.
I like the font on the black background. The white and the black pops. It's an easy to read font. I would keep that. But the sun looks like it was the third choice of a Google search. And there's so much more you could do to tell the story of what you do, other than what appears to me to be, just grab the first picture of a sun you can find and put it next to our name. Whereas, you could show the sun beaming down on panels. You could do something, the only benefit that I see to this is it'll be cheap to embroider on shirts.
Yeah, because of the thickness.
Right. That's the easy, that's the only thing I see. It just, I know if because I'm in Arizona, and we have a lot of solar door-to-door salespeople.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised. I was totally surprised at how many door-to-door salespeople I get. But based on that, I would see that and go, I think they're probably newer, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially I don't know what the website looks like, but it's leading me down the road of there wasn't a lot of work put into the website. There wasn't I don't know I don't know these things. All I know is, even just because the sun is smaller than the font, all I see is the font, and then my eyes slowly drift over to this little tiny sun that I apologize.
It's a Fiverr graphic. It's a Fiverr graphic.
It's just not. I apologize. It's just not working for me.
So, Rad, I mean, I know that you can take criticism. So, one of the things, why don't we look at this? I think that your JRD Solar has to change. If you change that font to be a little bit more modern, and think of it this way: right now, you've got this dark look to it, right? Well, solar is bright.
Yes.
Remove the black.
Yeah.
Do a reversal. Make it, and you could even do it with the orange, but remove the black, a little more contemporary style font, and put a sunrise raising up, reaching out, for JRD Solar. And I think that would express your products a lot more. The sun rising.
It's a better message.
Yeah.
You know what, Norm, you're right. You're right. Get rid of that black, because essentially, you're 100% right on that.
Okay, I'll just keep this going because we got 15 more minutes. So the next one is from Tony. It's tea decor. Just gives that warms feelings.
Just give that warm feelings.
It just gives that warm feelings.
I don't get it.
I think it should be feeling.
Just, or how about gives me that warm feeling, or gives
I think
Gives that
me
warm-
that warm feeling. Gives that
Yeah.
warm feeling.
Gives that
gives
warm
that
feeling.
warm feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, the tagline's wordy and grammatically incorrect.
Tea decor.
Okay.
So the problem with this is I have everything's generic. So obviously it has something to do with decorations,
Yeah.
home furnishings, I'm guessing, but not 100% sure. But at the same time, this is a style that a lot of the higher end furniture stores are doing.
Yep.
Of this kind of nondescript. I like the font; it's easy to read.
I do too.
Yeah, I the logo's interesting. It catches my attention. It is, like I said, it's that simplistic thing that a lot of the high end furniture companies are doing now. So I can't say no to it because it's worked for a lot of other people. But I would definitely fix the tagline. Like I said, it's too wordy and it's grammatically incorrect. And that's not going to get you. That's not going to get you the clientele that the rest of this is trying to draw with that message.
Yeah, and the pipe in between. I mean, you might want to bring it down to the same size as the rest of the logo, or remove it. See what that looks like. And that's just a suggestion. You might want to just remove that because what's happening is it's offsetting the spacing. The spacing should probably be okay. There's two options here. You can either run your tagline the length left to right, so it's aesthetically more pleasing, or this could be really cool, possibly, especially if you get rid of the word just. You move it to the left, the furthest left of the T to the R, so it's offsetting, and it could be kind of it's not typically the way that you would do it, but you might want to check that out because it might be just a cool looking design just by shifting it over. Because right now, having it a little bit condensed, I think if you're going to be doing it left to right, make the font a little bit bigger so people can read it, and then try it out just under your T decor. And I think that would look. I think that would look kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, what is this?
Okay, so there's three different. Just a second. There's three different texts here. I think they're each for different products. So the first one, Bouvel, ladies watches mainly, beauty, and L, ladies name, female magazine, also for products like accessories and cosmetics. Orton is the second one, logo for product that is more technical, outdoor do-it-yourself garden. And then the bottom one was reviewed last time.
I remember the bottom one. As soon as it popped up, I remembered it.
So this time you included what it was for. It's a sleeping toy plush bear that you plant line of kids clothing to. So kids clothing as well.
Yeah. So as I said last time, in fact, it's funny because it's actually come up another time that Norm and I were talking. I like this one. Just because if you're going for high end kids clothes, I think it fits. I'm trying to think of the first one because I'm trying to decide if that top one. I like the font, but I'm wondering. I guess I'd like to see it in a print ad to see how it would work in a print ad or on the box, because I don't dislike it, but I'm curious to see how. I'm guessing it's their higher end watches, so I'm curious to see how it's responded to by women who wear high end watches, because I don't fit any of those categories. And the middle one, the middle one, I mean, they're easy. And when I say easy, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, it's right to the point. It's simple. It doesn't make your eye or your subconscious do a lot of work. And I'm always a fan of that. Again, it really comes down to how the target market responds to it at this point. But there's nothing that I would specifically say, oh, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work.
Right. I guess the O kind of goes with like the on button as well, because it's more technical.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just keep it moving because we're running a little time. This is Simon's, but we're gonna move to someone new, and if we have time, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
This is, let me see. I made some notes on this one. This is for construction tools, mainly professionals.
Okay. What do you think, Norm?
Giza Tools. I mean, nothing wrong with the name. I don't understand the mountains. Is Giza?
No, they're the pyramids.
The pyramids.
Oh, the
Giza, yeah.
Got it.
They're the pyramids.
Got it. Okay. See the last. What was the first logo? Oh no, it was Rosalind's mustache logo and. Okay, Giza. And what kind of tools is it? Is it like for power tools? Is it for regular tools? I think
construction tools, mainly for professionals. So I'm guessing maybe, more heavy duty tools.
Flamethrowers and stuff like that.
All the fun stuff.
I'm not sure if I like it. I'm right on the fence with saying do a complete makeover and do a bolder. And then like even the black and white, I'm not sure. I if it is more of a power tool, I don't think the message comes across. And even with Giza, thinking of the power or the pyramids, the pyramid power, I'm not sure if that comes across. What do you think, Michael?
I like the logo, but I do agree with you of the messaging. That's the issue I have is I'd love to know the story of why Giza, like why the pyramids, like what do they represent in the brand, other than it would be neat. But I think that story might be an interesting part of the brand that we're not getting to experience. But I think it's bold. I think it's sharp. I'm on the fence too. I would like to know the background of it to be able to say whether or not it works. Visually, it's got a good balance. I picked up on the message. I had for a second or two, I was like, mountains, and then I was like, oh, Giza, duh.
Giza.
But again, I don't mind logos that stop you in your tracks and make you think about what the message is, because it actually locks it in better. So as a standalone logo, I do like it. I'd love to know why Giza and why the pyramids, because I don't necessarily think of pyramids and jackhammers unless the story is, well, they use tools to build the pyramids. So I don't know, but like I said, that's why I'd love to know the story.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be cool to see it on packaging and see what they do with it. Yeah. Okay. So they removed the actual branding from it, so this is more about packaging.
Okay.
But
But
it's
the
dust
brand
sheets.
is the package.
Yeah, I think they wanted to stay anonymous.
Oh.
But dust sheets for decorating and renovating with masking tape.
Norm, thoughts?
The packaging looks nice. Wrong colors for. I think it's the wrong colors for dust sheets. I'd probably go more to a green or a blue, black. So it shows more of outdoors rather than greens and reds. I don't think of, when you think of that niche, I don't think that pops out. Will this jump? So there could be a differentiator there too,
Right.
where other dust sheets might be in gray black boxes, which I'm pretty sure they probably would be gray, black, white. But using green or blue would make it pop. It's not bad at all. I like the icons.
Yeah.
Going down. So when somebody's walking down an aisle or looking at it on Amazon, they can see those specifics. And you can make those pop too. You can, like, if those are your benefits or features, you could also target those in your infographics. But I don't think this is bad at all. Plastic dust sheets, it looks nice and clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tells the story.
I just have that one thought about the colors, and the colors are not horrible. Like, whoever put it together, the color combination are complementary. I just don't know if it's for the right niche.
So here's my speculation on that.
Yeah.
and this is purely me. I might be completely way off base, but if whoever submitted this likes this, feel free to steal it. I think that it represents the caution, do not cross, construction type stuff. That would be my guess, is the choice of colors, because it is that, like, it looks like that, caution tape. That's what, because with the stripes, the 45-degree angle stripes, that's what it first reminded me of. And so I'm thinking, like, oh, you're putting down dust strips, covering furniture if you're doing construction. That's where my mind went. However, I also don't disagree that depending on what you're doing, green or something like that wouldn't also be just as attractive. So
Yeah. And you can play around with it. Okay. Oh, Homie. Okay.
This is the last one. Homie sells premium household goods.
It's I got the misspelling in there, right? So you got the double I.
Yeah.
And household goods. Okay. Is it outdoor goods? Is it premium household goods?
I'm guessing like interior household goods.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. Like, first of all, the brand name. It'd be, if you want it just to, like, Homey is kind of cool. I do like it. I think you nailed for household goods. I think it's cool. Very, very fine font compared to a very bold logo.
The font is hard to see because the logo is so bold.
Yeah.
I like the concept of the logo. So you've got an H and an M and houses. So I like the pieces that were put together, right? So it's like the upside down house makes the M, and then the two houses together make the H. But they're very thin, like the lines are thin. So my eyes go towards the black dot and don't focus as much on the H and the M. And even then it's still a little hard to follow, but again, I like the concept. I feel like the pieces are there. It just needs reworked. The biggest thing definitely being that the name is too thin and too small. because my eyes don't, like, I have to force my eyes to go down to it. Otherwise,
Right.
I want to stay at the diamond, that black diamond in the middle of the ball. Like, that's where my eyes want to stay. And I'm not exploring out to without effort, which means it's not balanced. It's not even, because my eyes keep wanting to go to one place as opposed to hitting that place and expanding outwards and absorbing the message. And so, like I said, I don't know. I'm not sure how to fix it. That's where I'm struggling is, like I said, I like the elements of it. The pieces that were put together of like, oh, let's do this. It's creative, but it's not working.
What happens if you reduce the size? Okay, because right now it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you did a reverse out. So you did just a key line, like a very thin line around it. And now you have it. It's much smaller if you're going to keep with this font. And now you, instead of jumping out at you, you've got this really cool key line sort of logo with Homie. But
yeah,
and it's very chic, right? And I think that might be able to pull it off. But if you reduce the circle and do the key line, that might work with that logo.
Yeah,
and it sounds like you've got like higher perceived value products. Like that's what I see when I look at the Homie. I'd be a little worried about the double I. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's a great observation, Norm. You're right. That would thin it out, and by reducing that and getting rid of the black dot and making it that key line. Yeah, no, you're right. That would help it a lot.
Okay, let's go back. I know we're going on forever. We might as well make it a full day podcast.
Yeah.
Let's go and take a look at Simon's. I know he's still on and.
Okay.
The Kitty Moto.
Yeah, so his was about his current logo, which is this one right here, and he's changing it. We did this last time. And he's changing it to this. So he's just looking for if he's on the right path. He took some of our advice from last time. This is for balance bikes, kids cycling, helmets, and protection, designed for nonstop toddler adventures that don't cost the earth.
That's way better.
Yep.
Better colors. I love the feeling of motion. It's a way better font. Just yeah.
One small thing, I don't know if it would work or not, but if you brought the adventure and right justified it, right? So adventure starts here and have that same sort of wing on it. So it looks like Kitty Moto, and then below the tagline is also in motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. This Simon, this is a lot better. The colors are better.
Yeah.
Everything about it looks much nicer than the old one.
Yeah. No, definitely. Big improvement here.
Okay, so
that's it.
It's that time.
Yeah.
Ooh, so this is our longest podcast ever in the history of man.
And I think my last one was the longest one before that.
Well, you beat it. You beat it.
Yeah. So thank you everyone who submitted their stuff.
Yes, thank you.
I know we were harsh on on a couple of them, but it's just hopefully just giving some helpful feedback for you guys. And yeah, here we go for the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay, here we go. The Wheel of Kelsey. We got lots of names entered today, and I'm just going to shuffle up the names before we hit it. Yeah, this is a free year membership to.
Oh, Simon. We just covered it.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Tony Vu.
Tony V. And he was actually one of the guys that submitted one of the designs too. So
I thought that was Tony Sager.
No, Tony V.
Oh, okay. All right, Tony. So hopefully there was a
Perfect.
little bit of advice there. You got a 1-year membership with Michael over at his group, and you're going to love it. So tons of information there about branding. So what do you have to do, Kels? Just K at Lunch with Norm?
Yeah, K at Lunch with Norm. I have the code already, so I'll connect you exactly with the code. You can sign right in
And
get started.
Simon, short story. Oh, you're only kidding. Okay, so you did listen. All right. Okay, so Michael, you're off the hook now. Until next time.
How do we get a hold of you?
Oh,
For those
I think
interested.
that would be.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you could go to designfromscratchconcepts.com, or you can email info@designfromscratchconcepts.com if you have questions. And yeah, like I said, the website's there to do basically what we did today. So
All right, fantastic. All right, Michael, thank you so much. We'll see you
welcome.
next time. I'm sure we'll be talking between now and then.
I hope so.
All right. Okay, everybody. I hope you liked the podcast today. Monday, we've got a really great guest. Now, this person is the CEO of Co-Founders Lab. It's a small little organization, only has 1 million members, 1 million entrepreneurs in his group. So his group is called Co-Founders Labs, and his name's Stephen Price. We're going to be talking about the entrepreneurial experience, the ups, the downs of a founder. So as you know, as an e-com seller, as an entrepreneur, you have days that you want to get out of bed. You got days that you don't want to get out of bed. How do you handle it? And he's going to be talking to us about that today. So it's going to be an incredible podcast. The Wednesday after that, or the next Wednesday, is Colin Campbell. So he is serial entrepreneur. He just sold his company to GoDaddy. He's got a $50 million private label product on the market right now, and it's increasing every day. Anyways, he's going to be talking about how he grew this business very quickly to $50 million. So big thank you to our sponsor, Global Wired Advisors, a leading investment bank focused on optimizing your business sales process. For more information, contact globalwiredadvisors.com. All right, Kels.
All right, so thank you, everyone. If you haven't already, smash those like buttons. It'd be appreciated. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that bell thing right below, and you'll be able to get all the notifications when we go live. Thank you, everyone. Also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Amar. We had some issues with the Patreon link in our YouTube comment section, and there was some extra special text that was added to it. It's invisible, but when people kept getting errors for it, so he actually helped me out and figured out how to fix that. So just want to give a quick shout out to that, and also to Andrew Craig, who signed up for our Patreon. Just a little shout out there. And also, if you're interested in joining our free Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and E-commerce Collective, we'd be happy to have you. It's a great spot for to get to know the Beard Nation here. And yeah, always looking forward to meeting new people. If you have any questions, if you want to share your win, anything that you're experiencing during your selling journey, let us know in the group. It's always great to hear from you guys. And yeah, it's been an awesome episode. We're currently at an hour and 39 minutes right now, so the longest podcast ever, but I love it. And it's going to be good.
So the only thing that I can say would be better in the Patreon group than what we're doing right now is the 24/7 Kelsey cam. So I've just got to talk to Kelsey. We're going to be installing 100 cameras
haven't started
in his
yet.
room. And so that'll start next week. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So tune in every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everybody. I saw a ton of new people, especially from YouTube today. So thank you for being part of the community. And, we can't do this without you. So enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.
Lunch with the